Our next matchup here is the Jericho versus Bandido match. Ring of Honor World Championship versus Bandido's mask. So
Yeah,
if
you know the
Jericho
big deal. Oh, you can go
Oh
now.
yeah. So of course, if Bandido wins, he gets the title, and if Jericho wins, he gets to unmask Bandido. And as we know with luchas, that is like one of the most heinous things you can do to a luchador is to take their mask off,
Yeah,
to
to be
remove their
exposing your
mask.
face to everyone and ruining their career and everything.
Yeah, but apparently it's not that much of a big deal because his sister and mother surely know who he is.
Yeah. So, anyways, Jeff Jarrett was announcing earlier that this is going to be the match of the night because the stakes are high for Bandido and all that. So, yeah. So basically, Jericho runs in, and let me see here. Yeah, he runs in with a code breaker. He goes for the quick pin, but Bandido kicks out. Bandido picks up Jericho for a vertical suplex, and yeah, that was crazy. He held him up for a solid like maybe a minute and a half or something like that,
It was
which it feels like a long time. You know how it is, the blood rushes to your head. It reminds me of Amy Sakura. I used to do that a lot. Like
Oh,
just hold you up there, just hold you up there, just hold you up there, and all that. And then finally slams his ass down
wait, does she
and
still work
everything. Ooh,
there?
I don't know.
I haven't
She
seen her in so long.
maybe in Ring of Honors, because that's the thing. She was mostly on Dark and Dark Elevation. Those shows are gone.
Um,
But she might still be on Ring of Honor once in a while. I don't know. But anyways, let me see here. Jericho does the power bomb off the apron and onto the floor. So that's pretty intense. Keith comes in trying to cheat there as usual. Gravity comes in. Gravity grabs him, and Aubrey tries to break it up. And while he's trying to break it up, and she's distracted, Jericho hits Bandido with the bat. So he pins and he wins and everything, and everyone saw whatever. But then I guess Aubrey was still trying to clear the ring, and she was too close to the crowd. And the mother and sister called her over, and they're mentioning about the bat and the whatever they were cheating and that kind of stuff.
but
So
Aubrey, just so you know, Aubrey was not the wait. Aubrey wasn't the referee.
yeah,
She was the referee.
every
Yeah,
time
the
Jericho,
Jericho match was
Jericho, yep.
Aubrey.
So Aubrey finds out about the baseball bat, and the match continues. So now Jericho grabs onto the sister, I guess, like, yo, mind your own business. The sister slaps him, and while he's busy, distracted with the slap or whatever, Bandito grabs Jericho with a suplex pin. It's kind of cool because he kind of like, I guess, vaulted his feet off the ropes for the extra leverage, and then he wins the match.
The only downside to that is the fact that the setup was obvious.
Yeah, but what can I say? So Bandito is now not only does he keep his mask, but he's also the new Ring of Honor champion. Of course, the mother, the sister, and Gravity are all there to help celebrate. And Jericho just leaves all like disappointed, upset, and all that stuff. So just a very very quick follow up on Dynamite. He was gonna have his little learning tree thing, and Big Bill and Brian Keith show up, and he's about to berate them or whatever. He was mostly berating because we saw that Keith showed up, but Big Bill was nowhere during this match. So he's
Yeah.
like, where were you? How were you? And all that kind of junk. And Bill started talking about like we're here and all that kind of stuff, but we respect you and all that. But if you're here calling us to like just berate us on TV, then yeah, no, we're not having it. So Jericho kind of flips out a little bit, and he's kind of like he has his bat. He's kind of like, oh, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
And he
And then he starts like
beating the
like
man.
breaking stuff, but he was saying like angry, like I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. And he starts breaking down the monitor, and he starts breaking down all the little props for the learning tree.
Yeah.
And then I missed this part, but apparently backstage it showed like a later.
He was
segment.
he was walking backstage. He was like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And there was like a crate, like maybe some bottles or something. He just, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And he knocked that down with his bat. Then he got into a car that was like a big, I guess, SUV or whatever, waiting for him, and the vehicle took off. So yeah.
Yes, we're gonna see what's happening. So I guess the learning tree is starting to kind of implode there, and we'll see what goes.
The branches are starting to wilt and break.
Yeah, the branches are trying to.
But Brian Keith during that whole segment, he was still kind of. It's like he didn't want to say anything, but it's like he was trying his best to remain neutral by not agreeing or disagreeing with Big Bill there because he was saying, yeah, Keith, Brian, and I have talked about this. He didn't say anything. And then Jericho was looking at Keith and asking him, wait, do you agree with this? And he didn't give him a chance to answer.
Yeah.
And Brian Keith was
Well,
like,
because
oh, thank
yeah,
you.
because No one respects Chris Jericho like Brian Keith respects Chris Jericho. Respect Chris Jericho.
Oh, like we said, Renee, you better not embarrass me for Chris Jericho again.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Okay. Your thoughts, guys? Whoever goes first.
Wait, what was the match again? I forgot what happened during the match again? Oh yeah, never mind. I forgot what match we were talking about. Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, for this one, everyone went for Bandita except for let's see, except for
Oh, I went for Jericho. Panda went for Jericho, even though he got to vote for this one. Not all
yeah,
of them, but
yeah, everyone went for Bandito except for Mark and William.
Mhm.
And that was the follow-up.
Yeah, like I was actually surprised on that one. I'm surprised Bandido actually won that. Now, my thing is, I'm just kind of looking at it going, oh wow, another faction of Chris Jericho's that's gonna fall apart. How original. I mean, it's pretty much writing on the walls at this point. Uh Otherwise, the match was pretty good. Bandito did kind of did shine through with a lot of his moves, and I'm just like, I'm still looking at Jericho going, dude, when are you just gonna retire? Just give it up. You're turning into the slow paced gimmick fool that you were back in WWE that pretty much put you in the low card roster at that point, and you're turning right back into that character. Just stop it. Just stop it. Pick a gimmick, stick with
Michael
it.
George, stop. Get some help.
Hey, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Also, too, while we were watching the match, I said, "Oh no, the Air Fryer's not in the tag team, which means Jericho's will be wrestling this match." And actually, I forgot. I actually timed it to see how long it would take. Remember?
Mm.
Because I was like, "Well, let's see. Maybe this will be a short match." I said, "Oh my god, this is like a normal length match."
Yeah, like word has it, if you put out a plate of frozen chicken nuggets in front of a Chris Jericho match, within 5 minutes they'll be done. So I'm just saying. But yeah, he needs to like find like some sort of niche, some sort of actual gimmick, and just stick with it. Like it's getting old and it's the same routine. He comes up with another gimmick, another faction, they end up fighting each other. Jericho's out of the group, he starts another one. Like it just needs to stop. It's
Now the
time to
weird
stop.
thing, the one thing I want to ask you though, William, is that did these guys really benefit off Jericho like the other ones? Because I know things kind of changed now because so many things happen, but at least back then with the inner circle, Sammy Guevara benefited from that. I know he's not around that much even. Well, I guess he's still a tag team partner with Dustin Rhodes,
Dustin,
but
right.
but anyways, at least at the time he benefited from that, And then with the the Jericho Appreciation Society, you can say that Daniel Garcia that benefited from that and everything. But from this one though, if the learning tree falls apart, I mean, did Dick Bill and Brian Keith really benefit? And I don't know, like really get their stars?
Wait, benefited from me having a good laugh every week at those two. Just with Brian Keith, really, he's like, "Oh, you better respect Chris Jericho nonsense."
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all they're getting is just a big laugh because let's face it, nobody was really pushing Big Bill before he was with them. He's not getting that much of a push while he's with them. Keith, well,
He
exactly
just there.
nothing. Like
He's
he's
just
just
there.
there.
Oh,
Like
that was kind of funny. The match versus the Hearst Syndicate, the announcing people were still talking about, oh, better be careful, man, because Big Bill's got that tag team champion experience. I'm like, it was a random slap together team of him and Ricky Starks. You know what I mean?
Unless they're trying to imply about him and Enzo.
It could be, but I don't know if those two were ever tag team champs.
Wait,
they
in NXT, I think they were.
NXT, yeah. But otherwise they got kind of soft. SAWST soft.
Yeah. But one thing I do want to say though, if they do become a tag team, at least with Brian Keith's case, at least he could wrestle because that was the thing. Enzo was good for the talking, the dancing, and all that shit. He was a crap wrestler when it actually came to actual wrestling. You know what I mean? Big Cass was at least the power guy. So if they do completely break off from Jericho and Jericho goes off to make his, 10 million faction or whatever, at least with those two, at least Cass got the power and at least Brian Keith can wrestle. So
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention you were talking about like the inner circle and the other group they had, but let's be real about it. Between Keith and Big Bill, nobody's small enough to get hit by a golf cart like every other pay-per-view. So, maybe that's the problem.
Okay, so about this match. I pretty much liked it. I like the storyline more than anything. I like the storyline behind Bandido versus Chris Jericho because he did the this honorable thing of taking off whose mask that he took off.
Yeah, the other time it was Bandido. He got the mask and Gravity came into like cover room so nobody would see his face.
And then you had the whole family drama and all that kind of crap. But the thing is that okay, the match was good in certain aspects, but in other aspects, this is just a rant in general with AEW. I think AEW needs to fire all these useless referees because they get distracted so easily, like all the freaking time, and they don't.
That's a wrestling trope, though, John.
No, he's right. It is a wrestling trope, but the way they do it, it's just.
But the way they do it in AEW, they overdo it. It's like it's done already. Like it's been done so many times. It's not even funny anymore. And the thing is, this match actually makes AEW, look bad because it's like they can't run business properly. They can't follow their own rules properly because Chris Jericho would have won this match by cheating, but because Bandido's family members, they were there to actually explain to the referee that that he cheated. That's the only reason. That's the only reason how. That's the only way Bandido was able to win this match.
It's kind of.
Yeah.
So it's kind of embarrassing that they have to tell the referees how to do their job. And listen, dumbasses, you guys are.
Why don't you get back in the ring and watch the match and stop looking at what's going on outside of it?
And not only that, but they have cameras. Like, what are they doing with the cameras? Like, don't they look, the camera like to see the footage, like what happened in the match? Like, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, I don't like when they do that is because it's like, okay, so this match, they told Aubrey that, hey, there was cheating involved as a bat. I hate when they do that because then it kind of ruins the logic about, okay, what about all the other 10,000 matches where people won because some extra person ran in or just something they do. They haven't done it in AEW, but I know WWE's done it throughout their history where sometimes they like want you to see the camera, the replay, the replay shows it. And I'm like, okay, but then why don't you do that every other time? Every like other 10,000 times they want to do cheating or whatever.
Yeah, these AEW refs, I have to agree with Johnny on this. That's one of my pet peeves with the series. It's like they are just so blind and they get distracted so doggone easily. I think it would work. I think it would work better if the distraction was more natural, as opposed to, I don't know, so can start dancing outside the ring. It'd be like, stop that dancing! Stop that dancing! I don't want you dancing. There's a match over here. Stop that dancing! Why are you tapping? Oh, you have to make shoes. I mean, you doing that nonsense. And then you got the shenanigans in the background. That's my problem with AEW wrestlers. It's like
it makes the referees look very unprofessional because they're supposed to have eyes on every corner. They're supposed to be very like quick.
Mm-hmm.
Reacts to all the things that are happening. So why is it that whenever there's an interruption, they take so damn long to react? Like just like how Wendy's saying that, and they take like whole 30 minutes to react. Like, come on, guys, like get back to your.
That's the problem. Yeah, that is the problem. I mean, I don't have a problem with the referee getting distracted if it came across as natural. It's like okay, like with my type of job, it's like, hey, I have to, I have to watch, what I do. And let's say I turn around for like 10 minutes and I hear stuff going on, but I'm not gonna look because I'm too busy focused on the one kid over there. The one student over there, as opposed to looking and saying, wait a minute, I have to keep my eye on everything, not just this one, and focus on just this one.
Yeah, one of the worst examples, and you have to kind of excuse it because, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman's pretty old. He's not a wrestler, like a legit wrestler, And wow, he was so old he could barely stand. He was in one of the matches, one of the pre-show matches, and I forgot the rest of the people, but I know that the match ended with Rodman bopping someone with a chair, and of course they won. But the thing is, because again, he never let go of the chair. He was still holding it the whole time. And Aubrey, I know it was Aubrey there, she had to like, I guess like, because it's so awkward because he's right there, you know what I mean? She had to like just pretend
Didn't see
she
it.
didn't see nothing and do the pin and the win and all that junk. And like I said, like
But
I
in that
understand-
case, it was a Dennis Rodman situation.
yeah,
I mean, he didn't
it's a
know.
cameo. He's also old. Like I said, he don't even barely stand. I'm like, wow, the age.
Wow,
Yeah.
Mister, I used to hang out with Madonna. Can't do much anymore, huh?
Yeah, I know, and all that stuff. And that's like, but again, it just breaks the immersion of the wrestling.
Like I said, refs.
And
Uh,
then and then in this match and everything said, yeah, I know the whole family thing, but they kind of overdo it, and it's like I think the family members, Bandido's family members, they kind of get a little carried away as well because they actually get inside the fucking ring. Like they themselves are risking themselves. Like, why are you doing that? Like I'm just an average Joe Schmo. I'm not gonna step into the wrestling ring.
Yeah, I know, but your
Yeah.
family and all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's also weird because as far as I always knew, with luchadors, nobody's supposed to know your identity, including your family.
No, the family knows,
Shush.
but they're not
They ain't supposed to be there and show themselves.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
exactly.
means that, like, hey, I know those two. That means that her boy is so and so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the previous example we did last time. If Johnny went to the ring with a mask and he was called, El Delgado or something. Oh, El Diablo Delgado or something. So he goes to the ring, but then in the crowd, I'm there, Wendy's there, Jack and Panda were all there and everything. It's like,
It's
gee, I wonder who he is.
Go the Delgado. And they was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we actually get in there. Like, let's say Jericho hit Johnny, and you see me and you and we were all there and whatever. You got like DJF trying to clear the crowd. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Johnny, right, from the podcast.
Yeah, so that means
Well, I mean, let's be real. They've kind of screwed that up a long time ago in front of our faces, and nobody ever realized it. Anybody remember the child support match between Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio for Dominic?
no.
So if anybody knew Dominic, they would look at Ray and instantly go, Oscar?
Now, in my memory, the only match I've ever seen where it was, like a versus mask kind of match kind of thing was in WCW because I remember Chavo Guerrero Jr. had a mask and he lost it in a mask versus whatever match, and he actually had a run afterwards. Now with his face exposed, all that kind of stuff. So that's like the only wrestler I remember, at least for me, that I've seen that lost the mask match, got his face exposed, but then kept going, like a new career, a new run with his face exposed. I'm not sure if it was actually Eddie Guerrero. I think he turned on him. I think it was Eddie versus Chavo for mask versus, I guess, a title or whatever Guerrero had.
Yeah, look that one. Yeah, definitely look that up.
Yeah, but that was back in the day. That was back in WCW and everything. And